The Final Destination movies have done a good job traumatizing the younger generations. I still won't drive behind an 18-wheeler pulling cars, much less logs. The original, released back in 2000, spawned an entire franchise rooted in the simple idea: you can cheat death, but not for long. Some light spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the movie, you might want to stop here. Final Destination Bloodlines focuses on the grandchildren of a woman named Iris, who escaped death in her youth due to a premonition. And now, surprise, Death's looking to settle the score. At this point in the franchise, there doesn't seem like there's many new ways to bring something fresh to the formula, and this sequel does play it pretty safe. The only new thing here is what really triggers Death and gives it a whole new group of victims. The novelty with these films, as always, lies in the kills. And in that way, it does feel like the Saw franchise, with each film trying to top the last one in sheer inventiveness and exciting deaths, which does make it amusing, but not all of it works. I'm not sure why everything these days has to be drenched in humor, especially humor that's more silly than actually funny, and this movie pretty much falls flat. I guess that's the tonal shift this movie wanted, a more horror comedy, but when you don't really care about who's dying, the absurdity of the deaths just doesn't carry any weight. Some of the death sequences are just so cartoonishly implausible that they lose all impact. What made the earlier films a little more frightening and traumatizing was their realism. Plane crashes or highway disasters, fears that were grounded in actual lived experiences. But here, the MRI scene is just more slapstick than anything. An MRI machine does actually cause people a little bit of trauma. It's a confining space, it's dark, it's lonely, it's quiet. But when you see the film, I don't think anybody has ever had a fear of what happens here to actually happen to them. And the punchlines just don't land, mainly because only two of the characters, the brothers, are remotely likable. Their scenes are pretty good, and that baby joke, yeah, that was funny. But our main character, Stephanie, yeah, she's not that good. She does have an amusing scene where she predicts how one of the deaths will go, but it actually doesn't amount to anything or go anywhere. So with that, it just seems like it's a waste. The rest of the cast fails to leave any impression, delivering performances that range from wooden to outright laughable. The only bright spot is Breck Bassinger. She plays the young Iris, who's the grandmother, and she does a pretty good job with what she has to work with, and that opening scene is the standout. Unfortunately for me though, that's where it peaked. The narrative feels pretty forced, where things seem to happen a bit too conveniently to keep the story moving forward. The hospital scene where the group finds Bloodworth, it's just lazy writing. He just happens to be there at the exact time they arrive, or even knows that a group of people would be coming, and he's just sitting there, just waiting to give them some exposition before taking his things and retiring. I really wonder how long he sat there waiting for them. I do appreciate Tony Todd here, apparently going off script to give a goodbye to the fans, and I do enjoy fan service when it's done right, but here it just feels like fan service for fan service. Visually, the film is underwhelming. The special effects are rough, and maybe it was an attempt to add to the absurdist humor, but instead it just cheapens it. Outside of the opening and closing scenes, which is where I feel like they burn most of the budget, the rest of the film looks pretty straight to streaming. Honestly, I'm surprised Guy Busick wrote this. His work is usually sharper and more polished. This one just feels rushed, like it was a studio cash grab capitalizing on the name of the franchise, which actually wouldn't be shocking considering it's Warner Brothers and the state of things going on right now. If you know, you know. I'm not trying to sound overly harsh, as no Final Destination movie has ever been a cinematic masterpiece, but the first two are still leagues ahead of this one. Bloodlines is a solid 3 out of 10 for me. It's a bad movie with a couple of redeeming moments, but not enough to justify a rewatch, unless you're marathoning the entire series, and even then I'd consider skipping it unless you want to see Todd one last time. It doubled down on the absurdity and the humor, but to me that just felt lazy and silly. That might be your type of comedy, and if so, I can see how people would like it. You're just wanting to kill some time, no pun intended, with some nonsensical death. But for me, it just felt cheap, and the cast really didn't help. Thanks for watching, and if there's a movie you'd like me to review next, drop it in the comments. If you're wondering how I rate movies, check out the description below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, I'm just being honest.
Maybe Death's not actually coming for our family. Because that would be crazy.